Alright, welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're going to introduce a brand new project, and it's right behind this gate. So without further ado, let's take a look at what we got. Beautiful, isn't it? This is a 1997 trailer. Wait a second, let's fix that. This is the 1997 Camaro Project F-Beater. Well, I found this 1997 Camaro at a farm near my house, and when I talked to the owner, he said he couldn't get it running and he wanted to scrap it. Well, for a mutually agreed on price, I ended up loading her up on the flatbed and saving this car from the wrecker where it was destined to go, and I brought it home to my house to see if I could actually resurrect this car. Alright, well, first look, let's walk around the car here, get an idea of what we bought. The hood definitely needs some love. That is typical GM paint job there. 80s, 90s paint jobs. No paint left. Clear coat, just a flaking away here. So yeah, a guy could easily throw some paint on that hood. Clear coat cracking on the front bumper. We'll walk around the car. This fender looks fairly good. Doors look okay. Some sort of a sun protecting film or something on the top of the door there. Rear quarter panels. One of the only panels that are made of metal on these cars, and they are pretty much dent free. Small little thing here. So one of the reasons why I bought this car, because the quarter panels were really in good shape. Got some paint coming off the bumper again. Looking inside, and yeah, there's some clues as to why I bought the car. Somebody decided to do a little work there. We'll get into the trunk in a bit. Walking around the other side here, and yeah, more clear coat peeling right in this area here. A little bit of a screw needed to hold that bumper in. Looks like somebody actually put some RTV or something in there. So yeah, some painted brake drums, tires from 2008 that are dry rotted to hell. But all in all, it's not a bad looking rig. I mean, I do like 4th gens. Typically I buy them, you know, with a V8 engine or with no engine, so this one's kind of somewhere in between there, and I'll show you why. We'll open the old hood here. And what do we see? We see a foreign looking engine to me. It's a 3.8 liter Series 2, or the 3800 Series 2. So this has got the V6 with the slush box auto trans. And it does not run. So one of the reasons why I bought it was it wasn't running. The previous owner, or previous 2 owners, couldn't get it running. So looks like I may have some work to do. Interesting stuff going on down here. Apparently someone decided to hook a tow strap and rip that right out. This little support brace are for the hood latch, so I gotta do a little work there, maybe hammer this in, tack weld that back in, but that's why the hood won't close. What else we got here? Just, it's been sitting for a while. You can see by all the white powdery corrosion all over the aluminum. So she's been sitting for a while. We'll see if we can get inside. We'll go back to the truck. Kind of more on how this vehicle came to be in my hands. See if we can get it open here. Dropping keys on the ground. Boy. Let's try another key. Well, it helps if you have the right key. I got 3 keys that look the same, and none of them work except for that one. So, of course, the rear hatch struts are cooked. And so if I use my head to prop this open, we got a piece of trim in here, which is, you know, pretty common then. Broomstick handle or trim, but there we go. We'll prop that open with a trim. There we go. So we got a lot of fun stuff going on in here. We got a fuel pump trap door being cut in. Really ugly way of doing it, but I guess this guy was sort of troubleshooting and wasn't really patient. The old fuel pump there, a new fuel pump installed. It's a Napa unit. So when I bought the car from the previous owner, he was unable to actually start it up. On the passenger side here, and we got all sorts of fun stuff going on in here. Another little bit of information to allude to why I got this car as cheap as I did, and I'll tell you how cheap I got it. Door panels are kind of half on. Oh, look at that, I got a kokanee. So I made 5 cents on the car already. Got a bunch of Moog Raybestos, what is this, Raybestos chassis parts. Ball joint. Don't even know what that is. Let's open it up. Oh. Tie rod end. Okay. On the tie rod end, we've got there's a ball joint. Dinky little ball joint. And more suspension related stuff. So I wonder if the suspension's toast out of this thing. We got a relay line here somewhere. This was probably the old fuel pump relay because the one that's in there works. Looks like the BCM body control module's been yanked out of it. Looks like some aftermarket stereo goodness that matches that big red power wire going into the trunk. And a lot of mold, so she has been sitting. But you know, this can be cleaned up. I kind of see some potential. It is a 30th, 97 is a 30th anniversary, so maybe that increases the value slightly. We'll wander around, take the keys, wander around to the driver's side. This seems to be the only one that works. There we go. Driver's side opens up. Yeah, more playing around here. Power door locks, power windows. That looks aftermarket. What is that? Sensitivity, full beat. Oh, this is some sort of a gain for an amp. Here's that fuel pump relay that we were mucking around with. You can see we were troubleshooting here with some 15 amp fuses, and there's a couple more. So yeah, some electrical issues for sure. But otherwise, you know, typical bolster damage. You know, otherwise though, the car's not terrible. So what else can we look at? Well, I was told there were brand new brakes put on it. And those elliptical type rotors aren't factory. So someone stuffed some different rotors on it. And it looks like there's a lot of pads. So I could say, yeah, okay, maybe. I mean, they painted the caliper. So maybe it's got new brakes on it. Maybe it's got some suspension that's been done or that needs to be done, and there's the parts sitting there. Got some funky stuff going on here. I noticed, or we noticed when we were doing some troubleshooting, that there are some wires here that are, yeah, down to metal, chafing. So these wires are kind of designed as fusible links. Those will have to be addressed. Couple other things, the car's been lowered as well, so again with the brakes you see some parts inside the car. There's been a little bit of money put into this, probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and I think it can live again. You know, I think with a little bit of playing around, ooh, there you go, another kokanee can back there, and some water, that's always good. Yeah, so we got some leakage here, probably from some of the seals around the hatch. definitely needs a cleaning. Definitely needs a cleaning. All right, the obvious question then, why did I buy this and how much did it cost? Well, I bought it because I think I can maybe get it back on the road, maybe flip it, or I think it's a good platform for something else. How much did I pay? Well, I paid a case of beer. Yeah, a case of Corona for this car. Not a bad deal when you look at the amount of parts and the parts value just sitting here. All right, well, I think the next step is to get a battery in this thing and continue to look at why it won't start, continue to do some troubleshooting, and make sure that that fuel pump actually works. Maybe it'd be easier working on that trailer. Sheesh. All right, well, cleaned out the interior. Still all that electrical crap down here, but we'll get to that. Found something interesting on the other side. Just about ready to put our battery in here. But on the other side, or the driver's side, we found there's a red wire going to the fuse panel. I unplugged that, and we put another fuse in the PCM bat. PCM bat fuse was blowing every time you put power to it. So we'll put a battery in it, and we'll make sure there's no things catching on fire under the hood here. But first step. Okay, battery's in, no smoke, nothing on fire. Charger's on just to keep things happy on the battery side. Got lights, noises. That stupid thing is red. I gotta get that out of there. Turn the key forward. I do hear a fuel pump priming in the back. Start it, spin it. Ooh. It's definitely, sounds like she's trying to go. Like it's firing on a cylinder or two, but just not enough to. So I wonder if we can put some starting fluid in it. Spray some ether down the old throat. Got some around here somewhere, and see if that does anything. See if it chokes on that. Put you guys down over here somewhere. Closer to your price. All right, well, that was definitely firing a little bit more. I wonder what the problem is. So we've got some spark. I don't know if we got spark to every cylinder, but definitely promising. The motor sounds like it's got compression, doesn't sound hurt. And yeah, so we're gonna keep plugging away there. Well, I'd say that runs, but man, it doesn't sound good. It's running on its own. I don't know how many cylinders that's on. Go around to the back. Probably all of like 4 cylinders, but we have a running car. It's gonna let it run for a bit longer here. Obviously check some things under the hood, and I did check oil beforehand, so it's got oil. Yeah, let's turn it off. let's do one more little vitality check there on the engine and the coolant, just to see if it's got any. But yeah, it's running. So I noticed something when I pulled the dipstick here. I'll put you guys down and hopefully I can find a level spot here somewhere. Yeah, let's see. See that? That's like really not looking good oil. Kind of looks like chocolate milk. I hope that isn't a blown head gasket. I don't know. Is it worth changing the oil and keeping going? Oil is questionable. Coolant. Is there any coolant? Is there any coolant? Any coolant in there? No, of course not. So we don't want to run this thing too long. I could probably garden hose some of that. Okay, let's give it another try. See if we can tickle the key there and see if she'll start on her own. Alright, well that just starts right away now. So, okay, got the oil out. That looks really bad. You know what that usually means, guys. That means head gasket, that chocolate milk colored stuff. But hey, maybe that's moisture in there from sitting. And I got some of the cheapest oil you can find is some Lordco 1540, whatever, 20 bucks. I'm gonna huck that in. And I put some fuel in the tank, a little bit better fuel, a little bit newer fuel. So hopefully whatever's in the tank is diluted. Maybe it's going to run a little better. And then I think the next thing, once we know we got the oil in there and got some good oil in there, is I'm going to start playing with spark. I'm going to start pulling wires off the coils and see which cylinders are dead. All right, let's see what happens. Also got some water in the rad. There's a head gasket issue with some water in the system. It may make that new oil chocolate, but we'll see. Gonna leave the car in the air while I turn it on. Fires right up. Just let it run for a second. Man, everything's loose on it. Might want to put that intake on. That's annoying, but it is running. Looks like something's unplugged down there. It's their air conditioning compressor, but it is running. So I'm gonna let it run for a bit. Check the gauges. Checking the gauges. We've got oil pressure, lots of oil pressure. Coolant, nada. Well, it says half a tank of gas. I don't believe that. Mind you, the car is lifted a little bit. So there is fuel. We've got a charging system. Interesting. So let's just run it for a little bit. Windows don't work. That's obviously why they were, all door panels are off. It seems to be almost, well, it's 3,000 RPM. So it seems to be almost running a bit smoother. Actually, give it a blip or two. Definitely dead on a cylinder or two. Probably that wasted spark ignition. It's probably a coil. If a coil is out, it's gonna have two cylinders that are dead. Let's let it run for a bit longer, see if the temperature comes up. All right, so when the car is running, if I disconnect any of these two spark plug wires from this coil, it dies right away. If I disconnect any spark plug wires from the back two coils, nothing happens. So it leads me to believe that it's running on actually two cylinders, only on this coil pack. So I could stick two more coils in there. They're like 20 bucks. I could Amazon them to myself pretty quick, or go to my local store, whatever, auto store. Oil doesn't look great after running it. It's not as chocolatey, but it is still chocolatey, so it could be, again, a wasted head gasket in this thing. I don't know yet until there gets some temperature in it, and I can't get temperature in it when it only runs on 2 cylinders. There's just no temperature at all. And put water in the rad, and opening up the rad again. There's still water in it, but again, that doesn't mean anything because the car's not taking water, meaning it's not getting hot enough, meaning the thermostat isn't opening. So the bottom end, I mean, the engine itself doesn't make any noise. The valve train, I mean, you'd think it would make some noise, but there's oil pressure. There's a lot of oil pressure on the dash. Yeah, so I think the next steps here is to get those 2 coil packs, put them in, see if we can get it running on all 6 cylinders, and see if we can get some temperature in it. See if the head gaskets are bad. I might want to change the oil one more time. I've just got the cheapest oil I could find, some 1540 diesel oil. It was like 20 bucks. And yeah, put another 40 bucks into it. So my total so far into, you know, working on the car right now is somewhere around 25 bucks. 20 bucks worth of oil, 5 bucks worth of fuses, and yeah, we're gonna put maybe another 40 bucks into it. So see if we can get it all running for under 100 bucks. And the next step from there, well, if the engine runs and it definitely doesn't overheat, looks like we have a head gasket, that's okay, then I'll change the oil again, and then we'll work on seeing if it goes into gear. Okay, well, we ended up going big and getting a whole nother ICM and coil pack assembly from a buddy, so it's off a car I know that runs. Here's the old ICM, ignition control module, and the old coils. I think this one was one that was firing, and the other 2 I didn't know, but we'll keep those. We could do some troubleshooting from the good ICM if we know that everything works. So I'm going to put this camera down, and we're going to try to start the car once again. Oh yeah, I definitely feel that thing is running on 6 cylinders now. It is running pretty okay. There is the sound of the exhaust note. We're going into the inside of the car. The tack is way off still, but sounds definitely like she's running on 6. Oil pressure is still high. Again, we're gonna get a lot of stuff out of the exhaust. You can see it floating in the air there. That is a bit hazy, but we have 6 cylinders. 6 cylinders, so we're gonna let that run for a little bit and see what happens. But that was it, ICM and coil pack assembly. So I think I know what I'm going to be purchasing for this, and it's coming down now to a nice little idle. Quite happy about that. I know I'm going to have to change the oil one more time due to all the crap in the oil, but that is a nice sound right there. All right, so this is the oil after I drained it the first time. Definitely still looks bad, so I decided not to waste good oil, and I put some used Mobil 1 out of my 1LE in there just to flush it again. I'm going to yank this oil out should everything look okay, but I'm still worried about head gasket. But I'm going to start it up again, and now with the new old oil, I'm going to see how this thing comes up to temperature and see, check the oil, check the color. It looks good now, and just check it to see how disgusting it gets, or if it stays the way it is. So yeah, I'll just run the car, see if it gets some temperature, monitor the coolant levels, and monitor the oil color to see how it looks as it warms up. Okay, it's been running for about 5 minutes now, and starting to idle real low, and we have pressure in the rad, which is interesting, green fluid. So it's probably doing some things there with the thermostat,
And if I pull this out, I don't know if you can see that, but the oil is actually looking good. So it's actually looking like dark oil and no muddy chocolate milk. So I think I'm going to run it for a little while longer. The temperature gauge is slowly coming up. Yeah, the temperature gauge is slowly coming up, but I don't trust the gauges too much, to be honest. But because, you know, it says we're doing 5,000 RPM almost. I don't know if that's just a tack issue or not. But yeah, our temperature is just over the cold mark now, so gonna let that keep running for a little while, see what happens. All right, this is first drive. Well, sort of. We're gonna, you know, we're gonna check to see the transmission goes into gear. I'd say that's a successful transmission test, at least here, you know, in my yard, but I'll have to get it on the road and get it to go through the gears. But at least the tranny works. Like, it seems to work fine. We're going for a little ride. We're gonna go up to the street, turn around, and come back. There's second gear. And a bit of clunks in the front, but hey, spin it around here. Have to put her in reverse. In reverse. Car there, but hey. Test the power. Oh, she's spicy. Well, there you go. It runs and drives. Not very good, but it runs and drives. So upcoming videos, I'm going to be working on putting the interior back together, working on the power windows, power locks, still tuning the car up a little bit. It runs pretty rough, but it did not stall on the little drive up the street. I did get second gear and reverse nicely out of the transmission, so I'll probably go through and once I get it running better, change the fluid and everything like that. And hopefully we can put some miles on this thing in a little while and go from there. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.